What is going on, everybody? GamersGoon here today with your college football prediction video where we pick every single game every single week. We have our 5 featured games of the week. It's not a long week like it was last week where we had football for like 5 days in a row or whatever craziness it was, because we do have the NFL returning this week, and later this week, actually tomorrow, you can expect to see the NFL video out, and we'll do that differently than we're doing the college ones because there's only like 16 games every week at most. A lot easier to fill. But let's get into it. And actually, no, we aren't going to be starting with one of our featured games. We're going to be starting on Friday night. We do have some Friday night football. We have JMU going up against Louisville. One of my quick picks, I'm going with Louisville to win that one 24-21. We have Northern Illinois going up against Maryland. Maryland looked pretty good. I'm going 28-7 in the favor of Maryland. Western Illinois versus Northwestern. Neither team really doing much, but I do think Northwestern 31-7 wins that game. And then we wrap it up on Friday with Eastern Washington and Boise State. I apologize for my Boise State hype, but they will win this game 35-14. Then we get into our first game of the quick picks, and that is Illinois traveling to, where is it? In North Carolina? I think it's North Carolina to play Duke. This game's going to be good. Duke, obviously, they played Elon. Illinois played Western Illinois. You don't really know what to take away from those games, in a sense of like the talent levels are significantly favored in one direction or the other. It's one way. Sorry, my phone is going crazy right now. Illinois, though, you had them playing Western Illinois. Duke obviously played Elon. You don't really know what to take out of that from either side. 45-7 to Elon. Then you had Illinois winning 52-3 against Western Illinois. Illinois, Luke Altmaier looked really good. I think he was around 70% completion. Hank Beatty looked really, really good. Duke on their side, obviously, nobody really is going to look bad in this, but Darian Mensah had a really good game, over 300, almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. The receiver, Cooper Barkate, had a big game, over 100 yards receiving. This should be a really close game. The line for it is 2.5 in the favor of Illinois. And wow, it's actually changed, because when I was making this last night, it was 3.5 Illinois. Now I was just looking at the website. It's 2.5 Illinois, which means they think Illinois slight road favorites. Obviously, you do get a cushion as a home game if you're Duke, but it seems to be like the odds are starting to swing in Duke's favor, at least according to the people over there in Vegas. Illinois, though, I like them to win this game. I trust Luke Altmaier. I trust that offensive line. They looked really good. They dominated. The run game looked pretty good. Used a bunch of different backs in that game. They're going to use at least 3 here in this game, with Fagan, Aiden Lawfrey, and then Khalil Valentine. You're going to have at least those 3. You have a lot of receiver depth, too. We didn't really get to see too much. Hudson Clement, who hypothetically you assume to be the number 1 receiver coming over from Western Virginia. It was more so Hank Beatty. I don't know if that's going to be a long-term thing, that Hank Beatty's the number 1 receiver on the team, but maybe it will be. Who knows? But Illinois, I like them to win this one 28-17 over Duke and the Blue Devils. All right, let's get back to the quick picks. We only have, I think it's about 6 games here between our next feature game and our next feature game. We'll get up to it here in a minute. But we have Northwestern State going to Minnesota. Minnesota's going to win that game 42-3. FIU will be traveling to Penn State to lose 42-3 in the favor of Penn State, obviously. San Jose State, feel bad for them. They have to run into Texas, coming off a loss, 45-6 in the favor of Texas. Next, we get UConn going up to Syracuse, and that game is going to be close, but it's 24-27 in the favor of Syracuse. Eastern Texas A&M going up against FSU. FSU looked real good, 42-0 in their favor. Baylor versus SMU. Should be a good game. Baylor going to lose this one, though. SMU wins 28-21. And that gets us back to our next quick pick. And our next quick pick is going to be Iowa versus Iowa State. A little bit of a rivalry game here. Both teams obviously coming off of wins. I would argue that Iowa State right now seems to be the more impressive. Obviously, the Iowa defense is going to hold up, and they're going to put on a defensive masterpiece probably. They get up 7 to Albany. The offense ain't going to go firing up the score too high. Iowa State, though, has had a couple high-scoring games already. South Dakota, they were able to play one of the more defensive slugouts with Kansas State with 24-21. I'm leaning the favor of Iowa State here. I think it's still going to be low scoring. They're only 3.5-point favorites. I'm going with them to cover. Iowa State, Rocco Beck and company win 20-14. Tough day to be a Hawkeye. Next, we go Central Michigan versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins that one 35-10. Kent State versus Texas Tech. Kent State got a win, shout out, but they're going to lose 56-7. Utah State versus Texas A&M, 42-14 in the favor of the Aggies. Western Carolina versus Wake Forest. We are going with Wake Forest to win 21-7, even though they looked kind of shaky, almost lost last week. Howard versus Temple. We're going with Temple to win 38-3. Idaho State versus New Mexico. Two teams that have no wins, 21-17 in the favor of New Mexico. Grambling State versus Ohio State. Sorry for coming. Ohio State wins 49-0. Gardner-Webb versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech wins that one pretty easy, 35-3. Bryant versus UMass, close one. UMass wins 17-14. Fresno State versus Oregon State. I'm going Oregon State 21-10. Miami, Ohio versus Rutgers. Rutgers wins that one 28-17. Texas State versus UTSA, another good game. I'm going Texas State to pull off the upset 24-21. North Texas versus Western Michigan. North Texas wins that one 38-21. Oklahoma State versus Oregon. We are going Oregon to win that one 45-10. And there is some steam to that game now that Gundy decided to talk and Dan Lanning firing back a little bit. Ole Miss versus Kentucky. Ole Miss going to win that one 31-24. Bowling Green versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati wins 34-10. St. Francis, Pennsylvania going up against Buffalo. I like Buffalo this year, 38-3 to win for Buffalo. UAB versus Navy. Navy wins that one 42-31. Lindenwood versus Appalachian State. Appalachian State wins that one 38-7. Troy versus Clemson. Clemson wins 49-10 coming off of a loss. Austin Peay versus Georgia. Austin Peay didn't do bad last week, but they're going to lose 35-7 to Georgia. Kansas versus Missouri should be another good one. 27-24 in the favor of Missouri. Delaware versus Colorado should be another interesting game for Colorado, but 31-17 in the favor of Colorado. Middle Tennessee versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin should dominate. We're going with Wisconsin. Big win, 42-10. Western Virginia versus Ohio. I'm going with Ohio to pull off the upset, 24-21. Northern Iowa going up against Wyoming. We got Wyoming winning that one 21-14. And now into our third featured game of the day. We got USF, who I didn't even realize this. This is our second time as a featured game. Oh well. Going up against Florida. Florida, 17.5-point favorites at the moment of, at least when I was typing this out, maybe it's changed a little bit, but either way. Florida, this to me seems like a typical trap game for Florida. You're coming off the big win of beating, Long Island? LIU. I think it was LIU. Yeah, they came off the 55-0 win against LIU. Now you run into South Florida, who just beat Boise. They've played in one of these high-profile games. Now, Boise obviously is not the team that we all thought they could be, but they played in one of these high-profile games already. They've came in as underdogs. They've done this. Florida, they dealt with LIU. I think this is a typical trap game. USF's going to make it close. It's at Florida. It's a game that is being played at 3:15, kind of in the middle of the day. You're going to be waiting all morning, and then one of those weird upsets happen in the middle of the day. If USF gets the job done, don't say I didn't warn you. But I'm going to steer clear of the upset alert. I'm going to say USF keeps it close, 34 points for them, and Florida wins the game 38-34. So, 4-point game in the favor of Florida. Next, we're going to go to Arkansas State going up against Arkansas. Arkansas wins that one 42-10. Jackson State going up against Southern Mississippi. Jackson State wins 21-17. Sacramento State going up against Nevada. Nevada wins 17-14. Campbell versus ECU. ECU wins 24-7. Cal Poly versus Utah. Utah wins 45-7. Mizzou, Missouri State going up against Marshall. 28-14 in the favor of Marshall. Texas Southern going against California. California wins 35-10. NC Central going up against Old Dominion. Old Dominion wins that one 38-13. Florida A&M going up against FAU. FAU bounce back game 27-10 and win. Bethune-Cookman going to Miami. That's a tough one. Miami wins 42-7. Shout out to them for beating Notre Dame. Army versus Kansas State. Two underwhelming teams so far this season with bad losses on. Well, Kansas State almost had another really bad loss. But two teams that are kind of struggling at the moment. Kansas State, they went 31-14. Or, my bad, 31-24. LIU versus EMU. That's where the 14 came from. EMU wins 31-14. South Carolina State going to South Carolina. We're going 42-7 in the favor of South Carolina. Tulane versus Southern Alabama. 42-24, Tulane will handle business. Houston versus Rice, we're going Houston to win 24-17. Northern Colorado versus Colorado State, we're going 28-0 for Colorado State. North Carolina A&T going to UCF. UCF wins that one 24-14. Memphis going to Georgia State. They win that one 38-17 in the favor of Memphis. North Carolina going to Charlotte. By the way, we just watched Bill Belichick collapse on national TV. But that's besides the point. 42-6 in favor of North Carolina. Western Kentucky going to Toledo. We got Toledo winning that one 20-16. Real odd score line there. Charleston Southern going to Coastal Carolina. We're going to go with Coastal Carolina winning 24-10. Louisiana Tech going to LSU. LSU with a big win 45-6. So let's get back over here and go to our next feature game here. Two undefeated teams at the moment. Arizona State had a little bit of a tricky game last week where they let Northern Arizona score 19 points. I think it could be a potential upset watch here. Mississippi State handled business 1-17 against Southern Miss. And I think Mississippi State is a lot better than maybe people give them credit for. Could be a sneaky spot here. Arizona State didn't really dominate that Northern. I mean, they won comfortably, but they let them put up 19, right? So you can only imagine what if Shapen and company at Mississippi State can get going. This could be a shootout kind of game. The odds favorites are 6.5 in the favor of Arizona State. I like this game as a shootout. I'm gonna go a big shootout here. I'm going to say 35-31 in the favor of Arizona State. I just think this is going to be a high score. I think when you look at them, at both of these teams, they're teams with something to prove. Obviously, Arizona State proving that last year was not a fluke, and Mississippi State kind of answering for last year, right? So I think this is a good opportunity for Mississippi State. I think they keep it within that 6.5. I think this is going to be a really good game. So 35-31 in the favor of Arizona State there. Back to the quick picks, and we got Akron versus Nebraska. Nebraska wins that one 35-3. Boston College going to MSU. Michigan State. Boston College wins 28-17. Georgia Southern going to USC. USC wins that one big yet again, 49-7. Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. We're going Vandy in a close one, 31-27. Ball State going to Auburn. Auburn going to dominate, 49-3. Louisiana Monroe going to Bama. I feel bad for anybody going up against Bama this week. 56-0. Bama wins. McNeese going to play Louisiana. Louisiana wins 21-7. UCLA going up against UNLV. I'm going UNLV to win a close one, 27-24. Tennessee Martin going up against UTEP. I'm going with UTEP to win 24-14. Tulsa versus New Mexico State. We're going Tulsa 24-21. Weber State going up against Arizona. We're going Arizona 34-3. Stanford versus BYU. We're going BYU to win that one 38-10. San Diego State going up against Washington State. We're going Washington State 21-17. UC Davis going up against Washington. We're going Washington 42-7. Sam Houston versus Hawaii. Hawaii is going to win that one 31-17. And then we have our last feature game of the week, and that is the big one, the one that's getting college football game day. The freshman sensation Bryce Underwood going up against, at this point, a veteran quarterback in John Mateer, who also had a really, really good start off to his Oklahoma career. This is going to be a good game. And I think really what you're looking at here, it's 5.5-point favorites in the way of Oklahoma. I think what it's going to come down to in this game is experience. I really do. Now, I know that Michigan has a lot of talent on their team, right? But I think it comes down to who has the more experienced quarterback. When the lights are the brightest, who's going to answer the call? 34-17 against New Mexico for Michigan is good, not great, right? Oklahoma, though, 35-3 against Illinois State. That's kind of what you would expect out of a team that should be playing against a team like that, right? Like, when you're playing Illinois State, you shouldn't really be giving up 17 points like Michigan did to New Mexico. Obviously, Michigan's defense will come to play here, right? John Mateer is a different animal than anybody I saw at New Mexico. But do I trust Bryce Underwood to get the job done with the lights are brightest? I can't say that I will. I can't say that I do. I gotta go away from him. I'm gonna be honest. I gotta go with Oklahoma. I just can't I want to talk myself into Bryce Underwood and what he can do at Michigan, but everything in my heart and my head is telling me it's Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to win this one. It's not going to be within the 5.5 spread. It's going to be 31-17 in the favor of Oklahoma. I just don't see Bryce Underwood. It takes a special kind of QB to play in this kind of game, right? Second game of his career. It's going to have college football game day. It's going to be a big moment against John Mateer, who is one of the more experienced QBs in the country. Airs it out. It'll be interesting to see if Bryce can keep up, but it's hard for me to see a freshman QB being able to deal with this environment. It's at Oklahoma, too, which adds another layer onto things. I got Oklahoma winning that one 31-17. It might be a late touchdown to make it a 14-point game, but I think Oklahoma wins this one, and it will be past the spread. So there you have it. Those are our Week 2 predictions. And like I've been saying, we'll follow the feature games as we go on out throughout the rest of the season. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.